Hello, you're watching Thursday edition of News Mongolia. Today is September 29th. For our top stories, ADB operations in East Asia media briefing held on Wednesday. Consular consultation meeting between the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia and the People's Republic of China was held. For other news, stay tuned. The 55th Annual ADB Operations Meeting and East Asian Media Briefing was held on Wednesday, and Director General of the East Asian Department, Teresa Ho, as well as the Advisor of the East Asia Department, Safdar Pares, provided some details regarding the latest updates on the Asian Development Bank operations in Mongolia.
A sign that says language interpretation.
The media briefing was presented via Zoom webinar. The ADB representatives made a brief presentation on East Asia's main two borrowing countries, including Mongolia and China. In the case of Mongolia, cumulative lending amounted to $3.6 billion, equivalent with a third of the loans directed towards public sector management, followed by energy, water, and urban infrastructure services. During the last 5 years, Mongolia has been provided with a good share of project loans and policy-based loans, and policy-based loans have also facilitated reforms in various sectors. In 2021, Mongolia was provided with $192 million for sovereign loans, $11.1 million for non-sovereign loans, and $14 million for technical assistance projects. ADB continues to provide COVID-19 response assistance through 4 projects. During the briefing, it was noted that Mongolia stands to be affected by recessionary tendencies in some of the trading countries and COVID-19 restrictions. The advisor of the East Asia Department also noted that the Russian invasion of Ukraine also plays its part. Currently, ADB provides Mongolia with $100 million support to fund essential expenditures and social protection. Mrs. Teresa Ko provided some clarifications on ADB's 30-year engagement in the past and the key policy directions and operations for ADB in Mongolia under the current strategy.
So, in Mongolia, as you may be aware, we have actually done a number of investments and loans to the private sector, primarily looking at through the Trade and Supply Chain Finance Program. We've also done some work on PPP, and we have made loans to select sectors like agribusiness, even banking sector is a sector that we have been involved in the past. And in our country partnership strategy, we will continue to want to be involved in infrastructure, in energy, in agriculture, as well as the banking sector. There may be opportunities to continue to make loans to small and medium enterprises through financial intermediation loans. So these are the areas where we think ADB can truly be engaged with the private sector.
In addition, Mrs. Ko reported on how the ADB will expand its private sector operations in Mongolia and what are the targeted segments for potential growth in the non-sovereign side.
With China business.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we are really about for Mongolia in the coming, well, actually in the period 2021 to 2024, it's really helping Mongolia recover from COVID-19, but to help Mongolia recover and become more climate resilient, and to undertake investments that would be green in nature. So the 3 pillars, as I mentioned earlier, would be for inclusive social development, and one pillar which deals with climate resilient infrastructure is for the purpose of actually promoting diversification and increasing economic opportunities. And so the idea here is to enable Mongolia to have a more diversified economy, looking at both Mongolia's core strengths as well as its potential to engage in other activities that would help grow the economy. Another emphasis is the emphasis on green investments, but also looking at resilience of its macroeconomy. So I would say these thrusts are the direction that we have taken, which have already been demonstrated through some of the projects that we have done. If you will notice, the health security sub-program last year dealt with helping Mongolia achieve some advancement in its health strategies. We also have an upcoming project on AMAG and SOM's infrastructure development program that is meant to actually make more resilient investments to tackle climate change mitigation and adaptation. We also responded well through the COVID-19 AP program that we provided last year, complemented by the counter-cyclical support facility that we provided this year. It's really to ensure that development is inclusive, social programs continue to remain inclusive, and that economic opportunities are provided for the citizens of
The Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Platform, to be organized later this year, will be hosted by China. The Central Asia Regional Economic Cooperation Program is a partnership of 11 countries and development partners working together to promote development through cooperation, leading to accelerated economic growth and poverty reduction. Mongolia is one of the member countries.
Now let's take a look at Mongolia's current affairs.
The 22nd Consular consultation meeting between the Ministries of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia and the People's Republic of China was held online on September 27, 2022. The meeting was co-chaired by Mr. Baltbacher, Director of the Consular Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Mongolia, and by Ms. Wu Xi, Director of Department of Consular Affairs of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China. During the meeting, the two sides exchanged views on bilateral consular issues such as the facilitation of travel between Mongolia and China by citizens of both sides, protection of the rights of citizens, as well as other bilateral issues. The ambassador and permanent representative of Mongolia to the United Nations in Holt addressed the high-level plenary meeting to commemorate and promote the International Day for the Total Elimination of Nuclear Weapons held on September 26, 2022, on the sidelines of the general debate of the 77th session of the United Nations General Assembly. Permanent representative in Holt noted that the annual observance of the International Day is important for raising awareness of the threats and risks which nuclear weapons pose, and emphasized that member states need to intensify the implementation of the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. He also stressed that nuclear weapon-free zones and Mongolia's internationally recognized nuclear weapon-free status have made a valuable contribution to achieving the goals of nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation and promoting confidence building. The meeting was attended by the President of the 77th session of the United General Assembly, Shaba Koroshi, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres, and the representatives of more than 80 states and NGOs. This year marks the 30th anniversary of Mongolia's declaration of its territory as a nuclear weapon-free zone. Mongolia officially ratified the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons in December 2021.
We highlight Julie Velu, a Canadian citizen who is an intellectual investor in thousands of Mongolian children. In 2013, she initiated and started the Children of the Sun project to provide education to more than 300 children from families living on the basis of the Otlancholot landfill. Her work, which started her mission with the grace of change in the life of every child, is not only showing results but also expanding.
Canadian citizen Julie Velu first came to Mongolia in 2013. At the time, she saw children playing in the Otlancholot dump, which is the reason she decided to stay and help children in Mongolia.
Many children had a difficult life. When I saw this, I wanted to help. Because the children were cold, without food and without school, life was very difficult. I just wanted to do something. I didn't expect to do something big. A lot of people donated money. Those people wanted to help by doing a lot of things. Little by little, each of our projects became very big.
The Children of the Sun project she initiated has expanded. For example, this place, which first started taking children to kindergarten, now has a 2-story kindergarten, a swimming workshop, a comfortable library, and a learning center. Also, this team runs the Singing Crane Children's Camp, which not only provides children with educational scholarships, but also organizes food donation campaigns for target groups of people.
Julie is a creative and courageous woman. New ideas are always coming from her. She always finds a way to do anything. That's exactly what it's like to work with Julie. Little children no longer work at the landfill, but how can children gain knowledge without support? They had no internet, books, or computers. That's why I felt like doing something. And most importantly, educational support was needed.
It is planned to build a new kindergarten building. A library was also established near the kindergarten. At first it was a small library, but today it has expanded into a training center that can be used by people of all ages. There are more than 3,000 books here. About 10 people work in the sewing workshop. Last year they sewed 500 dolls and donated them to others.
Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. Here comes the international news from our partner agencies. Norway on Tuesday decided to boost security around its energy infrastructure, land facilities, and installations on the Norwegian continental shelf after reports of an increase in unidentified drone flights in recent weeks.
The announcement came after unusual leaks were discovered Tuesday on the Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2 pipelines. Some European leaders and experts pointed to possible sabotage given the energy standoff with Russia provoked by the war in Ukraine. Energy companies and governments are already reacting. The Norwegian state oil company Equinor said it has decided to raise the level of preparedness in Norway. The alert was raised overnight and applies to all of Equinor's facilities. Norway isn't a member of the European Union but is a major producer of offshore oil and gas. Its energy exports have surged as European countries scramble to find alternatives to Russian energy supplies. Speaking to Norwegian media on Tuesday, Royal Norwegian Navy officer Lieutenant Commander Tar Ivar Stroman warned that there could be attacks on Norwegian energy exports in the next half of the year.
There is a new Center for Robotics and Artificial Intelligence in Edinburgh. The National Roboterium is the UK's largest and most advanced center for robot technology. CEO of Edinburgh Roboterium said that there is nothing to fear from robots.
From androids with a human-like face to those disembodied arms, robots of all shapes and sizes are under development at Edinburgh's new £22.4 million National Roboterium. The facility, which is a partnership between Heriot-Watt University and the University of Edinburgh, is billed as the most advanced robotics and artificial intelligence centre in the UK. The chief executive Stuart Miller believes we must embrace robots as an inevitable part of our future.
Inevitably, there will be more robots in everybody's life. They'll be helping you at home, they'll be helping you when you go out shopping, they'll be involved when you go to a hotel.
Improvements in robot technology allow machines to do many tasks that previously required people, tossing pizza dough, transporting hospital linens, inspecting gauges, and sorting goods.
The thing to remember is we as the humans are in control. We can decide how far this goes and how far it doesn't go. We will have to put safeguards in place, but I think it has more to bring that's going to be good than we have to worry about.
The pandemic accelerated their adoption across many industries. Robots, after all, can't get sick or spread disease, nor do they request time off to handle unexpected childcare emergencies. Employers seem eager to bring on the machines. A 2020 survey by the nonprofit World Economic Forum found that 43% of companies plan to reduce their workforce as a result of new technology. Miller insists that we have nothing to fear as we are in charge. The team in Edinburgh say they plan to use robotics and artificial intelligence to solve global challenges. They also plan to focus on job creation and teaching digital skills in the workforce to develop a future where humans and robots work together.
Now let's take a look at our regular feature on sports. Spain secured a dramatic late victory against Portugal to qualify for next year's Nations League finals.
Portugal had looked more likely to take the lead throughout Tuesday's match in Braga, but Alvaro Morata's goal with 2 minutes remaining handed Spain an unlikely victory, the country's first win in Portugal since 2003. The 1-0 scoreline means La Roja narrowly topped Group A2 on 11 points, 1 ahead of Portugal and 2 ahead of Switzerland, and joins Croatia, Italy and the Netherlands in the finals. Portugal needed only a draw to top the group, came close in the first half when Diego Jota was denied by a strong save from Unai Simon. The goalkeeper then denied Cristiano Ronaldo, who was put through on goal by Jota's pass from close range at the start of the second half before Ruben Dias saw his shot cleared over the bar by Dani Carvajal. As the match entered its closing stages and the draw seemed like the likeliest result, substitute Nico Williams headed a cross goal and into the path of Morata, who hooked a shot in the open net to spark jubilee and celebrations among the Spanish players and coaching staff. Portugal had one more chance to level and return to the top of the group, but Ronaldo once again had a shot blocked by the legs of Simon. A surprise 2-1 defeat at home against Switzerland on Saturday seemed to have put qualifying for the Nations League finals out of reach for Spain before Morata's late goal. The finals take place in June next year, with the host country chosen in January.
Denmark will wear toned-down shirts for the World Cup to protest against host Qatar's human rights record and its treatment of migrant workers.
Kit provider Hummel has also designed a third all-black kit to represent the color of mourning. Hummel said it does not wish to be visible in a tournament it claims has cost thousands of lives. We support the Danish national team, but it isn't the same as supporting Qatar as a host nation, it said. As part of the design, the Denmark badge is also toned down. Their playing kit will be a plain red home shirt and an all-white second kit. Denmark's training kit sponsors would also draw their logos to give room for messages critical of Qatar. Qatar officials have previously disputed the figures on the death of migrant workers working on World Cup facilities, said the actual total figure at the time in 2021 was 37. Hummel said, "We wish to make a statement about Qatar's human rights record and its treatment of the migrant workers that have built the country's World Cup stadiums. We believe that sport should bring people together, and when it doesn't, we want to make a statement." However, the Qatar 2022 Supreme Committee, which organizes the tournament, disputed Hummel's claims about the deaths of migrant workers. The committee also urged the DBU to accurately convey the outcome of their extensive communication and work with the committee to Hummel. Denmark have previously said they will put extra pressure on FIFA over human rights concerns in the build-up to the World Cup, which starts on November 20th. England captain Harry Kane plans to wear a One Love armband during the World Cup as part of a campaign started by the Netherlands to promote diversity and inclusion and stand against discrimination. Belgium, Denmark, France, Germany, Norway, Sweden, Wales and Switzerland are also supporting the initiative. Qatar has been heavily criticized over the country's human rights record, including strict anti-LGBT laws and concerns over the treatment of migrant workers.
Here comes the weather forecast for the world's major cities. This is it for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.